Joining us on the hotline is Bill King, radio host on WNSR, speaking on the airwaves 6 to 9 Monday through Friday, and the king of college football talk. Always appreciate your time on a Tuesday, Bill. How are you?
Hey, guys. We were just talking. This year has a different feel to it. It's more uncertain than any year I remember since 2007. That's the feeling. That's the vibe.
Mirrors the offseason a little bit too. Chaotic. This like the non-playing portion of the season and the playing portion of the season, Bill, are mirroring each other, aren't they?
I was just telling my audience this morning, you realize we're under 2 months from the next Stampede transfer portal. 2 months, guys. We're less than 2 months.
That's wild to think about. But before then, you got a lot of football to play, and teams that made big statements this last week. Obviously, Arkansas did not play. The biggest game in the SEC this weekend is Texas against Georgia. Felt like Penn State and Oregon, though, man. I mean, I know that's the Big Ten. It's not the SEC, but those potentially were two of the biggest wins in the country last weekend.
Despite Southern Cal exhibiting the flaws that they have, going out there and winning that game is not easy. I don't care what you're taking out there. And Penn State's obviously got lots of talent. Their quarterback, Drew Aller, is finally playing, and he's healthy, like the 5-star recruit. They've got the best tight end in the country who's playing magnificently for them. They've got a pretty steady defense as well. This is the best Penn State team since the 16 team that won the Big Ten and beat Ohio State.
Bill, another game this week that looks like it could be a playoff elimination game. Ole Miss, first of all, I thought they left 24 points in the first quarter alone against LSU. And you can't do that in Baton Rouge because then LSU has the talent. They have the dudes. It's kind of like they were spotting them 24. I still couldn't believe that, but it's kind of an elimination game of sorts. The same thing, Alabama going to Knoxville to play the Tennessee Volunteers in what could be an elimination game. How do you see that one going?
Tennessee is exhibiting flaws that I did not think they had, and one would be their offensive tackle play, guys, is atrocious, mainly in pass protection, but it's atrocious. We've got sloths at the Nashville Zoo that get into their pass protection stance quicker than the Tennessee offensive tackles do. It's that bad. And the quarterback's seeing ghosts. He really is. And it's trickling down. Now, the defense has been outstanding. The defense is better than I thought. Alabama has gone from, I thought, the best-looking team in the country against Georgia, particularly first half, to now they're fundamentally unsound defensively. And the passing game's starting to hiccup with the quarterback struggling some, Milroe, and he's not as accurate as he was earlier in the year. So lots of flaws on both of these teams.
I'm told so often it's about talent when it comes to how a team performs against another team, and I just think I get Vanderbilt is much better than they were the year before, but Vandy should not be beating Alabama, and it doesn't feel like this South Carolina, although they're a little difficult to figure out, Carolina this year. But that's a game that Alabama could have lost as well. What is going on with the Crimson Tide right now? Because these are not necessarily games that under Nick Saban they played very closely. What are you seeing with DeBoer?
They look undisciplined right now, and their defense plays a 3-3-5, which is a very unsound defense in this league. And they're not adjusting to it. They're losing confidence on that side of the ball. They're struggling at times getting off the field on third down. That's another problem. Did everything they could to give that game away to South Carolina. And look, guys, Vanderbilt, I've got 50 years of Vanderbilt. And 49 of that, probably 48 of that is horrible football. This is a very good football team. They've got the quarterback of the year in the league. Now, he's not going to be the highest draft pick among quarterbacks, but there's not a quarterback better than Diego Pavia right now, and not a better leader. And I'll tell you the other thing. This team is very physical. This Vanderbilt team is incredibly physical, and They are very, very pumped up. They get Ball State and then Texas. Now, think about that. In 2 weeks, Texas comes to town, and maybe I doubt it, but maybe Vandy thinks they can shock the world.
Bill, speaking of Texas, they host Georgia, who I think is the second-best team in the country, at least the second-best team in the SEC right now. Man, what just an epic matchup. It seems like the SEC just keeps giving them to us week after week. Is this a Heisman moment maybe for Carson Beck or Quinn Ewers? Can they catch the running back at Boise State? Or I think Dylan Gabriel's the leader in the clubhouse right now, but those guys I know are up there. But this Georgia-Texas game is going to be massive.
It is. Carson Beck's not playing well. Not consistently. Now, he's a good quarterback, but he's not playing consistently well. Some of that would be they don't really have proven playmakers yet who have developed or proven themselves at wide receiver. Not going to complain about Brock Bowers because you're never going to replace him. And the offensive line, their best offensive lineman is a kid named Tate Ratledge, who's a first-team All-American. He's not been available. He's been injured. And they're still not quite as nasty as we think they ought to be on defense. Now, having said that, they could beat anybody in the country on a given day. I don't like their chances right now, which is rare when I'm talking about Georgia. Don't think I like their chances at Royal Memorial Saturday night to win that game, though.
Hey, Bill, I wonder what you make of Kirby Smart giving a shove to the Mississippi State quarterback. And I'm not going to put it on the level of Woody Hayes punching a Clemson player in a bowl game, but that's something you can't do, even if he says he didn't see him. And I can't imagine he didn't see him unless it had something to do with rage, and I'm not sure that that's an excuse. If it was a lesser coach on a lesser program, would there be a suspension instead of not even a slap on the back of the wrist?
Maybe. You're right. It wasn't 1978 Gator Bowl, Clemson, Ohio State, Charlie Bowman catches a forearm to the throat from Woody Hayes. It's not that. I kind of believe Kirby Smart. Now, that doesn't make it right. Emotional at the time, and it's chaos. He said we were trying to substitute. It was a empty backfield look, which we'd been struggling against. Now, all of those that's word salad. I understand. I can understand the emotions of the sideline. Now, shoving that kid's completely wrong. But I'm not surprised. He did say, I saw a clip where he contacted the head coach, and then he talked to the kid, and they smoothed everything out, and apparently everything's okay there. But, yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of people that would like to see more done than nothing. I've heard a lot of that for sure.
Hey, Bill, Oklahoma State going to BYU. A lot of people picked Oklahoma State to win the Big 12. They're 0-3 in conference play, BYU being 6-0, 3-0. Has Oklahoma State, have they let go of the rope there in Stillwater?
Yeah, they have. I thought after the Arkansas game they were a team to beat in the Big 12. A couple teams to beat, but he'd be one of them. And it's not working out that way. And that's probably a loss. I was going to say it's a losable ball game. It's more than a losable ball game. It's a likely loss ball game, and I think this season's getting away from them, no doubt.
What has happened with Kansas? It's like we're talking Big 12 for a moment here. They've got the same quarterback. They've got the same running back. They got the same coach. What has happened with the Jayhawks?
Yeah, I'm a huge Lance Leipold guy, and I think I saw a stat. Is he 5-8 in the last 13? I hate to throw that out there because I'm his PR guy, right? I'm his PR agent, but yeah, it's a struggle, and I guess it's another lesson that history typically teaches lessons about repetition, and they're not epic levels of bad like we've seen.
They got a lot of 4-point losses, yeah.
Correct, but they're just not good enough right now, and it's Kansas personnel. It's a tough place to go get dudes now.
4 of their losses are 4 points or less, Phil. That's kind of like what Arkansas was last year. It kind of felt like just couldn't make the enough plays.
Bill, what's your thought on Matt and I were talking about the Heisman for a while because we're at the turn now. It's most teams have played. I think everybody by now has played 6 games, so they're halfway through. The last time that a Heisman Trophy came from a team that is not in a Power 4 or then Power 5 conference, although back then nobody used those terms, it was Ty Detmer in 1990 with BYU. And I think he broke the single-season passing record that year. Does Ashton Jeanty need to have a record-setting season to win the Heisman? You know, Matt's of the opinion that the Heisman should come from a Power 4 program. We've had some texters come in with the same opinion. Some think that Jeanty stands out amongst the crowd. Do you think that the Heisman should, I don't know if you say like it's limited, but you put more weight against a schedule for a Power 4 team than from the schedule Boise State plays? And that makes sense to me. I
thought you were going to say Andre Ware back a little bit.
Oh, with Houston. Yeah.
Yep. But it's possible. It's unlikely. Now, the pathway, and guys, just ironically, I'll be quick. My wife's cleaning out this room, and I see on the bed this unopened Heisman ballot from 2018. It was mine. Now, I did it online, so I didn't skirt my responsibility, but I thought it was kind of funny that she chucked that thing on the bed unopened and everything. Look, he's going to need the big name player, quarterback, canceling each other out. That's what would have to happen for
like
him
splitting
to
the
win.
vote.
It's very, very unlikely.
Interesting.
You know, if Oklahoma, let's say Texas goes undefeated and Oregon goes undefeated, I mean, could one of those quarterbacks, could they kind of cancel each other out where then Jeanty could win it?
Maybe.
Because then
it's unlikely, but that's the formula. That's the pathway.
Interesting. Hey, Bill, we'll leave it there. Always appreciate you coming on. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill King, it's always a fun conversation with him. He hosts 6 to 9 on Nashville Sports Radio and joins us each Tuesday on Halftime.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.